Are we witnessing the slow erosion of respect in preseason hockey? Or is this just the raw, unbridled passion of a rivalry boiling over a little too early? Good evening, hockey fans, and welcome to your channel name, where we dive deep into the stories that truly matter on the ice. Last night, the NHL's Department of Player Safety dropped a hammer, but the question remains, was it enough to cool the simmering tensions between two of the league's fiercest rivals? The National Hockey League's Department of Player Safety wasted no time in addressing the chaotic scene that unfolded in Quebec City on Tuesday night. In a move that surprised precisely no one who witnessed the absolute bedlam, Ottawa Senators forward Nick Cousins has been slapped with the maximum allowable fine under the collective bargaining agreement, a hefty $2,148.44. His transgression? A dangerous and frankly reckless slash on Montreal Canadiens rookie sensation, Ivan Demidov. But Cousins wasn't the only Senator feeling the sting of the league's disciplinary hand. Teammate Hayden Hodgson also found himself lighter in the wallet, fined $2,018.23 for a board infraction on Alex Newhook earlier, in what can only be described as a preseason game gone wild. This wasn't just a hockey game. It was a declaration of war, a no-holds-barred slugfest disguised as an exhibition match. The atmosphere in Quebec City was electric, charged with the kind of animosity usually reserved for the deepest playoff rounds, not a meaningless tune-up in early October. Both teams, ostensibly preparing for a grueling 82-game regular season, instead opted for a full contact, bare-knuckle brawl that left fans both aghast and, dare I say, morbidly entertained. The incident involving Cousins and Demidov, however, transcended the usual rough-and-tumble of a rivalry game. It occurred at the 7:22 mark of the third period, a moment etched into the minds of Canadiens fans. Cousins delivered a vicious chop to Demidov's wrist, a play that sent the 19-year-old phenom reeling off the ice in obvious agony. It was a moment that sucked the air out of the arena, a stark reminder of the fine line between competitive intensity and outright malice. Cousins was initially assessed a minor penalty on the play, but as tempers flared and the situation threatened to completely unravel, he was later handed a major misconduct. The message from the officials was clear. Enough was enough. The aftermath saw a visibly incensed Canadiens head coach, Martin St. Louis, pull no punches when addressing the media. His frustration was palpable, his words cutting through the post-game tension like a skate blade through fresh ice. "There's no need for that," St. Louis declared, his voice laced with a mixture of anger and disbelief. "It's an exhibition game. Both teams are trying to get ready for a long season." And he's absolutely right. Preseason is about shaking off the rust, building chemistry, and integrating new talent. It's not about targeting promising young players with potentially career-altering slashes. St. Louis's comments resonated deeply, highlighting the unspoken code of conduct that, for a few chaotic hours, seemed to have been completely forgotten. This wasn't an isolated incident. It was merely the crescendo of a night steeped in violence. The game quickly devolved into one of the most brutal preseason clashes in recent memory. By the time the final horn mercifully sounded, the Canadiens and Senators had collectively amassed a staggering 150 minutes in penalties. Think about that for a moment. 150 minutes. That included 9 major penalties and 8 misconducts. It was a penalty box merry-go-round, a constant parade of players heading to the sin bin, leaving fans to wonder if they were watching hockey or a gladiatorial contest. From the opening puck drop, the tone was set. In the first period, Florian Chikaj and Jan Jenik dropped the gloves at center ice, exchanging blows in a classic hockey fight that, while intense, felt almost quaint compared to what was to come. As the game progressed, Ottawa's Zach Maswan and Montreal's Arbor Chikaj, two players known for their physical prowess, engaged in multiple altercations, their personal rivalry adding another layer of fuel to the already raging fire. The second period saw Jenik emerge from a scrap with defenseman Jaden Struble with blood on his face, a grim testament to ferocity of the exchanges. And in the third, as if to cap off the night of madness, Donovan Sabrango blindsided Montreal's Kirby Dach from behind, a dangerous play that earned the Canadiens a 7-minute power play and further solidified the game's reputation as an all-out melee. So, what exactly happened in Quebec City? Was this a calculated strategy, a desperate attempt by players to make a statement? or simply a complete loss of control, from an analytical perspective, is a complex cocktail of factors. Firstly, the inherent rivalry between the Canadiens and Senators is legendary. These two teams genuinely dislike each other, and even in preseason, that animosity can boil over. Secondly, preseason is a proving ground. Players on the bubble, prospects fighting for a roster spot, and veterans trying to reestablish their presence often play with an elevated level of intensity. But there's a critical difference between intensity and recklessness. The Demidov incident, in particular, crossed that line. It wasn't a hard, clean hit. It was a targeted slash, a dangerous act that put a young player's health at risk. The league's swift action, while the maximum allowed, still feels like a slap on the wrist for an act that could have had far more severe consequences. It sends a message, yes, but perhaps not a strong enough one to deter future incidents of this nature. The game's overall lack of discipline speaks volumes about the emotional state of both teams, suggesting that the competitive fire, while admirable, needs to be tempered with a greater sense of responsibility, especially when the regular season is just around the corner. Amidst all the chaos, the biggest concern for Canadiens fans was, of course, the status of Ivan Demidov, the young forward who had already notched 2 assists before his premature exit, left the game for treatment and did not return. The sight of him leaving the ice in pain sent shivers down the spines of the Montreal faithful, fearing the worst for their promising prospect. However, Coach St. Louis provided a much-needed update on Wednesday, offering a sigh of relief to the Canadiens organization and its fan base. St. Louis stated that he is not concerned about Demidov's situation heading into the regular season next week, effectively eliminating any long-term worries about his condition. This is fantastic news, as Demidov's talent and potential are undeniable, and seeing him sidelined for an extended period would have been a significant blow. Despite the brutal physicality and the constant parade to the penalty box, there was a hockey game played, and the Montreal Canadiens emerged victorious with a dominant 5-0 shutout. Goals came from Oliver Kapanen, Patrick Laine, Alexander Carrier, Lane Hutson, and Kirby Dach, showcasing the offensive depth that the Canadiens hoped to bring into the regular season. The win, however, felt almost secondary to the sheer spectacle of the violence. Now, looking ahead, the two clubs are set to clash once again this Saturday in Montreal for their final preseason game. The question on everyone's mind is, will the animosity carry over? Will the Senators seek retribution, or will both teams, having received their fines and their warnings, revert to a more disciplined style of play? One thing is for sure, this rematch is now appointment viewing, a game that promises to be anything but a typical exhibition. It's a chance for both teams to either bury the hatchet or reignite the flames of a rivalry that is clearly burning hotter than ever. So, what do you make of it all? Is this the kind of intensity you want to see in preseason, or did it go too far? The NHL has made its ruling, but the debate rages on. We want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below and tell us if you think the fines were sufficient, or if the league needs to send an even stronger message. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, please hit that like button and subscribe to your channel name for more exclusive insights and passionate hockey analysis. Until next time, keep your sticks on the ice and your heads up